great 2-minute drive, which we had great production in practice last week in our 2-minute drill. And so that was nice to see, and we talked about that in the huddle, that those are things we do and it's going to pay off. So that was neat to see. Portland State had a tremendous drive at the end. They drove it almost the length of the field, and that was an impressive drive by them. And they did some great things, and it was a little bit like the Eastern Washington game where, Eastern took it down and drove it quite a ways and got some points on the board to win it. And so that was a little bit nerve-wracking. Some of those thoughts obviously come back to you, and you have to think past that and try to do the things that are going to get some points on the board and stop people. And it was an unfortunate personal foul by Mr. Hobbs that kind of helped keep that drive alive, because on 3rd and short we'd been awesome stopping them. That's the one down had been good in the second half, so that was disappointing to say the least that occurred. It helped Portland State, so those are things we have to clean up. But it's a great win. Very long trip. Felt like we left Thursday morning, but long trip, and our players are tired, and we're pretty beat up. But time to move on to Lumberjacks, no question about that. Great team. I have a chart here of which teams they've held down in the rushing. It's incredible what they've done against the run. Just incredible. Southern Utah was actually the team that rushed for the most yards against them, and I think that had to do with Jerome and his team. I don't think they were too fired up to take the bus up north to go play in Utah, and maybe they weren't too fired up, but I mean, they held the Sun Devils to 50-some yards, and Montana State, I want to get this right, I wouldn't want to be wrong about that school, 16 yards rushing, and they'd have a tremendous offensive performance. Montana State has. So that's the type of team we're going to face. Outstanding quarterback. He was a 1A player for a while, transferred in. As good as anybody in game management I've seen, especially at this level of football. Unbelievable. He's had one average performance, first half against Eastern Washington. That was it. Everything else has been awesome, perfect. And then he got hurt right before halftime of the Eastern Washington game, didn't play the second half. And obviously Eastern Washington won that game. I think that's the reason why, was because the quarterback wasn't there for the second half. Well, Arizona State played Portland State, and they played Northern Arizona. So, yeah, I've tried to ask a lot of questions of their staff and a few of their players that I know a little bit. But, it's kind of like, well, one player says Northern Arizona played them a lot better than Portland State. And when I looked through the video, he's exactly right. Northern Arizona played very well against ASU. And first thing they did was stop that run. And we watched the 3rd and short videotape of that breakdown. And ASU had to throw the football. They couldn't run it. So, we have our big test to be able to run the football against these guys. Well, I think, being here last year, we won 5 games that were right down the wire, a couple points here or there. And I think we all experienced it last year. It was just maybe in a different way that, we won some early close games last season. And I think Chase had it exactly right when he said, a lot of people, at least a couple more, are involved in the win instead of watching it on the sidelines, because if you break down our offense last year in those close games, Ropes was in a few of them. Chase was there, Alex Verlanik was there, and Opie, and that's really it. I mean, Jabin was a few, but that's about it. And defense is kind of the same way. So a lot of these people that are making plays and are helping protect the quarterbacks were guys that we're watching. So there's parity. There's no question. There's tremendous parity. I talked with Coach Sowers last December and a couple times in the spring, and Jerome really felt that this was, if he was going to have a year, it was going to be this one with the quarterback back. And you break down his team, and I think there's 8 starters on one side of the ball and 7 on the other. And they're backed up by juniors. And the other starters are juniors, and I think 1 or 2 sophomores. So he's got a veteran team, and that always helps, no question, in close games. And when you play on the road, it helps to have seniors. Oh, it's important. again, they're going to get a few plays, and I think that's a credit to him and a credit to what they do on offense and the other players. But you know, they just chipped away at the Bobcats. They had a tremendous game plan, both sides of the football. Montana State couldn't get their hands on the ball, and they just chipped away at them. And you know, we're going to have to get home on our blitzes. We're going to have to hit the quarterback. There's no question. And he was able to remain fairly, solid that way against Montana State. They didn't hit him very often. Hit him a few times, but we have to hit him more. There's no question. Have to try to rattle him. Well, we didn't do too well on offense, getting those thirds down. Last game against Portland State, our defense has been solid all season, and I know when we practice, we compete in that area each and every day. So, I think it's somewhat of a credit to our secondary as much as anything, because I know we're getting a good pass rush. We're getting people stopped, but it's hard to find some people open at times. And even, Brandon talked about the flea flicker. What a great play that was to break that thing up, because that could have changed a lot of momentum, in that football game. So those guys are where they need to be, and they're doing the right things for the most part. And I really credit what they're doing. It's not the flex look. Very little flex. A lot of pressure. We've tracked each formation. They bring over 60, 70, 75%, depending on what formation you're in, and the down and distance. A lot of blitzing, a lot of odd front too as well. Three defensive linemen. They bring the backers up, and they do drop them out. They drop the D linemen out into pass coverage. They bring the backers, and then sometimes they'll bring all those people. So there's a lot of blitzing. It reminds me of us. Especially during the two-a-day camp and in spring football, of what we were doing on defense. So, tough to prepare for. We have seen it in practice over and over, but a lot of times it's a different person, Fritz, that's coming than you've practiced in, going against our defense. That's a huge hit. He's the best defensive end in the league. There's no question. Hands down. Watching everybody, he's the best there is in pass rush, and he's improved so much in the run game. Incredible. And he also is why our third down is so outstanding. So tremendous disappointment there. Duncan last week, Hobbs is not 100%. So young guys have to battle. Feather battled, played outstanding, played hurt most of the game, and guys have to rise to the occasion. And so far we've been able to do that. But the list is getting very, very thin. Yeah, we feel we do, and we've used the nickel with Jimmy Wilson, and Jimmy's played it well. Jimmy's going to probably play a couple different positions this weekend, because he played 57 plays, and he's healthy again, so he's raring to go, and he's the type of athlete that could play corner, safety, or outside linebacker. He might have to play DN. You're right. He might have to. I'll give you the short version. Actually, Jerome and I met each other the summer of going into 6th grade, and we went through junior high together. He was actually the president of our 9th grade class, and I was vice president. We ran on the same ticket. So there's some trivia. I don't know if that's human interest, but it is to my mom and his mom. But then junior high, high school, we played sports together all through, and then we actually he actually got on our staff at Portland State when I was already on the staff, and helped him get on with Coach Reed, and then we were there a year and a half together. And then we came here to Missoula, and I believe he was here 12 years. I had gone to ASU, and he stayed on for a few more and got the NAU job from here. And so yeah, we've been through a lot of things I can't talk about, because I don't want to embarrass these players up here. But most of it was good. Most of it was being productive citizens. There's that strategy, there's that chess game, and Jerome's one of the most talented people I've ever met. On and off the field, he can play the piano, he can play the guitar, he can sing. He can do all the things I can't do. So there's always a little bit of jealousy there, probably, in just the way he is. But his father was a high school coach. Jerome's in it for all the right reasons, and He's done a great job, and he's a great friend of mine.
It's kind of been a struggle the last couple of weeks, just with little nagging injuries, but it felt really good Saturday, and we offense had kind of a rough day starting, and we just kept fighting and fighting, and the last drive, and I don't think anybody had a doubt, which is a good thing, and we know Justin's in control, and he's gonna get us down the field, so we did what we did, and I just did my part, and I did feel better this game, and hopefully just keep improving. So it's great. It's like I said, I didn't think anybody had a doubt. I do know there's a couple guys that were on offense that had never been in a game like that and pulled it out, which was really good for those guys to know that, hey, this is what Montana does. And as far as most of the guys that come back, we know. I mean, it's something that Montana does. It's something that we do. So for them guys to kind of see it in action and kind of buy into, hey, we're never down and out. Stats don't mean a lot to me. Even they've stopped teams, but we're still going to go out and we're not going to look at the stats and say we can't run on them. I know a couple years ago, I think they were the #1 defense in the Big Sky, and we went out and had no problem doing what we wanted to do. So we're going to go out just like we do every game, and we're going to do our game plan, and if it works, it works. If not, we'll try to find another way. We take the first game as the playoff game. There's not one game we look past because we're the team that everybody wants to beat. We've always been that way, and as far as I'm concerned, we get everybody's championship effort. So it's not different for us because we're used to it. We go out there every week, and whether we're playing the best team in the league or the worst team in the league, we're still gonna go out there like it's the playoffs. So they played tough down there. It was an exciting game. It was pretty loud for them, and I think they were pretty jacked up to play. And I remember the quarterback. They made some great plays, but we came out and finished the game. So hopefully we can not be this close, not be that close this year. So
we were really in a really good spot. We had a good kick return, put us about the 30, 35. So we didn't really have that far to go, and Brody's been really successful kicking the ball, especially distance kicks, and we had 3 timeouts, and we had 2 minutes and 20 seconds, I believe. So we had plenty of time, and, we didn't really feel like a real panic amongst us, Everyone was just like, well, we're going to drive down, we're going to kick the field goal and win or score, So we didn't really feel any panic, and that made it a lot easier. The first play, I tried to put one up and see if we could just get down there without having to worry about it. And then we had a very fortunate holding call, and then a couple conversions, first downs, and kind of ran out the clock and put Brody on the 5-yard line, dead center. So it was pretty well. I think it was pretty well managed by the whole team, and good play calling also. They really started. We kept going with the read zone plays, and they were really starting to crash the defensive end, trying to make me pull, and they were trying to bring a linebacker around for me, But I felt that Chase was more athletic than their defensive end, so he would get past the through the hole before they could get to him. So I just kept giving him the ball, and he was really running hard, and he was having a pretty good day. So I felt confident that he would get the job done. Be a battle. Every game the last few weeks has been a battle, hopefully, like he said, we won't have to go to overtime, and it won't be as close. Hopefully our home crowd will kick it in and give us some momentum again, and because I didn't make that trip last year, so I don't really know what it was like, but it was obviously a close game. Both teams made plays. We just were fortunate to come out on the winning end. So. But we always prepare ourselves for a battle every week. For the guys who played in the playoffs last year, like they've said, that there's a lot of new guys, new faces that haven't, really been at that level yet. And this was the first stepping stone last weekend to them, maturing and getting some of that the tough playing time in for some of the new guys. So it'll be interesting to see how they react after that, and how they kind of try to get more playing time and more confidence.